Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Dev and I are continuing our Middara series. We had just gotten done playing Abraxas Battle Dice, taking a small break while Patrick got reacquainted with his shotgun, sucking on the trigger.
Really erotically cleaning it.
It's in between his legs.
He's like,
he's like, oh, sorry.
No.
Sorry everyone, it's been a while. But with that being said, we are now continuing the main quest. Ready? This episode is probably just going to be pure reading, and not reading by listening.
Main quest, imprisoned by mistake. Alright, this is the place. Patrick stopped, looking up at the little stone manor. Isling's place. Let's just take it slow, okay? She's got some real reasons to be upset with the Black Hand. If we can keep her cool, maybe we can talk her into turning herself in. I doubt it. Remy flexed her wings, looking back at the house. It was the smallest in this row, yet expensive enough to be made of stone instead of wood, with the back half cut into the cliff. All right, I'm ready. Me too, Nightingale said, doing a little hop to hype herself up. Let's get that info. Patrick was the first to the door. He knocked rapidly, pressing his face to the wood. Isling, it's me.
This Dead or
Open
Alive
up.
games.
The door swung open.
Or Code Vein. Like the weeaboo songs.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, they would just... Yeah, they would just, like, when they're standing there,
Just the breeze.
Yeah, it was so stupid.
Jesus.
The game sucked.
Isling pulled Patrick into an embrace, burying her head in his shoulder. Patrick, thank God you're here. I think I screwed up. You could say that again, Remy muttered. Who are... Isling released him, looking back at them. Your friends from the inn, she asked, confused.
It gets real dark.
What are they doing here? I brought them to help. He glanced over his shoulder.
Patrick's like, I'm sorry. Blows her face off. Anyway, job's done.
You've ruined the family.
Let's go back and play Abraxas Battle Dice.
It's our life
The
now.
street. There were several other houses nearby, and the streets were busy with passerbys. Can we come in? People can hear us. Oh, right. Isling stepped out of the way, waving for them to come in. Sure, come in. Isling's home was Spartan, with bare stone walls and little furniture. They made their way to a sitting room without enough chairs. Remy didn't really try to keep the anger from her tone as they walked. So, were you trying to cook us alive back at the informant's house? Or was that only meant as casual arson? Isling took one of the two
Your
chairs
thighs are
while
so
Patrick
thick
took the other.
with
She
strength.
looked up from her fumbling with a little leather satchel she'd been wearing, eyes wide with guilt. Oh no, Isling yelped, one hand over her mouth. Are you in there? Yeah, Nightingale answered before Remy could, resting one hand on Remy's shoulder. We were in the basement investigating the murder. Oh God. Isling hung her head into her lap, hair covering her face. I'm so sorry. I never planned. She looked up. Patrick, I didn't mean to use the damn thing, but he caught me, and we fought, and... She shivered, wiping at her face with one hand. I've never seen so much blood in my life. Remy didn't give her a moment's peace. Why did you have to loot the place? We wouldn't be here if you just left well enough alone. Isling was stammering, barely able to form coherent sentences. I didn't know what to do. I just grabbed what I could and ran. She looked back to Patrick. I was hoping to get something we could use to finally prove how crooked Grace Jean really is. Get her ties to the Black Hand out in the open. She opened the satchel. Sure enough, it was stuffed thick with black ledgers and a loose sheaf of paper, all splattered with something red, brown, and foul. There was something else crammed in there too, something square and faintly glowing, but Remy didn't get a good look before Isling snapped the satchel closed again. What does the Black Hand do exactly? Nightingale asked. King Balthazar's my father. If it's that serious, I'm sure I could convince him. Balthazar's daughter? Isling perked up. My lady. She nodded respectfully. Had I known Patrick brought you, I'd have shown more respect. Just answer the question, Nightingale muttered. Well, fencing stolen property, you already know. They don't really much care what something does, so long as it'll fetch a high price. Her expression darkened, and she glared down at the satchel. They take no responsibility for what they sell or to whom. So when innocent people die, well, not their problem. Of course, it's much worse here in Romstead. Drug rings, prostitution, protection rackets for every business in town. And Malik, I've seen him. Remy couldn't take it anymore. Shut up! She glowered down at Aisling. I don't care what you think about my father, but don't lie about him to my friends. Maybe his people sometimes forget to ask about where things come from. That doesn't mean he's a killer. Aisling stiffened, rising from her seat. Really? Your father? The pain was suddenly gone from her voice, which grew cold. She stared at Remy, as though seeing her for the first time. Your father ruined my life. Your father murdered my family. Your father... Remy smacked Aisling across the face so hard it made her hand sting. Aisling reared back, digging for something in her satchel. Fearing it was a weapon, Remy reached for hers, but she wasn't fast enough. With impossible speed, Rook was between them. He shoved both of them on the shoulder so hard that they went tumbling to the floor. Remy scrambled to a crouch. Rook glowered down at them both. Hey, he folded his arms. Don't. Nightingale cleared her throat. She faced Aisling. Whatever happened, our friend had nothing to do with it. Remy's been at the Institute with us for the last 2 years, so I'm sure... She sighed. Look, I already told you who I am. Give me those ledgers and I'll deliver them to the king personally. No fighting through bureaucrats. No making your case to the court. I will make Balthazar listen. But it's important we get those. See, we're pretty sure you picked up... Something crashed down the hall, causing Remy to jump. City Watch! Shouts and pounding footsteps echoed.
Jesus, the fuzz!
Remy's head twisted back around and she saw uniforms rushing toward them, weapons drawn. Wait! Nightingale screamed, panicked.
Remy
scrambled to her feet just in time to see Aisling leap up and through a nearby window. Before the guards could reach them, she rolled out onto the street, the satchel over her shoulder as she vanished down an alley. Seconds later, they were all in irons.
In irons.
Irons.
That was a weird phrasing.
Irons.
Like, seconds, because I would have said irons, but I guess I'm just an idiot. Alright, the Grace of Romstead. Yay, get to go through the courts and all that. No, you have to believe us. My father isn't evil. Right, still maniacally laughing. The city will be caked in blood.
Oh, that's just how he is before his coffee.
And my daughter is none the wiser. Kill her first!
I don't know if it's the black eyes or the 3 black orbs or the jagged armor that he wears.
With its buttressed balconies lofting almost 50 feet over the crashing waves, he hadn't imagined he'd be dragged up the drawbridge in shackles. He found it hard to appreciate the ancient bas-reliefs that lined the throne room with cold iron digging into the skin of his wrists and ankles. Even so, it was impossible to miss his cousin's unusual additions. Elegant landscapes had been replaced with paintings and sculptures depicting the finer parts of the human form. To put it lightly, other pieces of the castle's original decor had been defaced, painted over with band logos, or just blacked out to give the new additions a sleazier backdrop. I hope you assholes realize who you arrested, he muttered. My cousin Grace isn't gonna be happy you treated me like a common criminal. The guards wilted under his anger as they'd done several times before. Sorry, we have our orders, someone said, not meeting his eyes. Please don't take it that way, sir. We don't mean anything personal, but Grace is the one who sent us. The guards didn't release them, and soon enough they had reached the throne. Malik Moretti paced back and forth behind the throne as they approached, looking less together than they'd ever seen him. His hair was frazzled along the edges, and there were deep bags under his eyes.
Fresh blood all over his hands. He hadn't had time to wash them off.
Grace looked a little more composed, though there was something of terseness as she spoke. Idiots! I said bring them here, not parade them through the city like captured pickpockets. Get those damned manacles off. Told you, Zeke spat at one of his captors. The guards bowed, and with a few clanking sounds, he was free. They moved between the rest of his friends, unlocking their bindings, or in Rook's case, untying as there were no manacles wide enough for his Herculean wrists. I'm sorry, cousin. Grace waved one hand dismissively, and the guards hurried for the doors. This left only the 5 of them and Grace and Malik behind the throne. I expected a little more discretion from my staff. We do have a few questions for you, Malik said. Remy, Grace told me you were seen at the murder victim's house before it burned down. Please, explain to the governor what you and your friends were doing there. I know you have a good reason, and you weren't there to destroy evidence. Remy walked past Zeke, glaring up at her father. You two didn't seem to be doing shit, so we tried to track the murderer ourselves. We'd made our way down into the basement. Basement? Grace and Malik answered together, both sounding worried. Yeah. Remy didn't slow down. My friends and I dealt with your pet, Melody. You know, the one we wouldn't have had to fight if you'd just been straight with us. We found a room full of stolen artifacts down there. Malik relaxed. Then why did you burn the house down? We didn't. Zeke walked up beside Remy, arms folded. When he spoke, he sounded irritated. That was Aisling. She's about this tall, pale skin, aquamarine eyes,
Tight ass.
bright red
Tickle
pigtails,
bitty.
has a weird white getup on. You can't miss her.
Lazy eye, hair lip, snaggletooth.
Now that really stand out.
Everything didn't really work, but you gotta take a good with
Yeah,
that.
they weren't steaming hot, so they were very noticeable.
I know of her, Malik interrupted, glancing sidelong at Grace. He lowered his voice to a whisper, but Zeke could still hear him clearly enough. She's the one I warned you about. The one I thought we might be having trouble with. I didn't judge her capable of murder, though. Grace looked furious. Bitch stole the hegemonics from us, I bet.
Oh, shit.
Desmond was eviscerated by that thing. He won't be easily replaced. I don't know what combination she has to the puzzle box, but it's obviously destructive. We need to be careful. She was right, Patrick muttered under his breath. He stepped forward, clearing his throat. Excuse me, Duchess... Malik? He inclined his head in terse respect to each one. Forgive me for asking, but what do you two mean about we and us? It's no secret what Malik represents in his town, but our appointed ruler couldn't have anything to do with him. It wasn't a question. Grace rolled her eyes. Don't lecture me on morality, Patrick. We both know Shayless is the only reason you didn't leave Ronstead years ago. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't let you gallivant around breaking all of our rules. Any protection Aisling had from being your friend is run dry. Patrick bristled, apparently struggling to form a response. Grace spoke first. Have you asked?
Shayless is my girlfriend. That's Aisling.
Right, yeah. I have her pretty well memorized.
Right. Well, I bet you do.
Oh, yeah.
You can just smell her coming. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know the fish market was... let's see. Well, there's, of course, Malik.
Yeah, and he's so wholesome.
Yeah. I mean, basically, like Christ himself.
Exactly.
I feel like Shayless was someone's sister.
Is that...
I think it's Nightingale's sister.
might be. She was the one that's in, like, the punk tee with the short...
That's
Zeke's mom. Whew.
And then that's her brother.
Okay.
I think Yol, or yeah, that's the demon.
Right.
There's the fucking gross.
Yeah. That sexy beast that we...
I wish they had like an art book, like separate. That's the uncle. That's they all look like in their 20s.
Hey, Unc.
That I don't remember who.
How's it hanging?
Oh yeah, there's Thick. Antoinette, that's the king.
Okay.
I don't know who that is. It's someone's mom as well. I think that's Shayless.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's who. Yeah. And that is, and Shayless is, that's Zeke's sister?
I think that's Zeke's sister.
Okay.
Shayless Arson. Nope.
Arson.
Nightingale's sister.
Oh, Nightingale's sister. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if they make an art book, I might have to pick it up. They should, just so you can be like, so you can reference who
Who's
people
this?
are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That person.
All right, so it looks like Patrick and Shayless have a thing.
his investments help fund the demiurge? If you knew what some
In
of
this
my
world,
other
everyone should
relatives
have
have
a
done
thing.
with their
Everyone's hot as
lives.
fuck.
That's true.
Present company.
But if everyone's hot, isn't no one hot?
Isn't no one hot? Yeah, right.
Like,
What would attract people then, if
probably
not for
like
titties and ass?
I was about to say personality.
Nobody fucking does that, Seth. It's all...
It's all, everyone's just fucking shallow.
The only reason Mark's is with me is for the sexy-ass body.
Right, I notice all the compliments that you get.
Yeah, yeah, apparently.
It's just me.
Excluded, of course. You might see Romstead differently.
You should just get one of those fucking
you had been here,
Iago
right?
fucking hoodies.
I
got whatever, however you fucking say it.
I got Josh one of those for his birthday. He did put it on, and he has not worn it since. It's just awful.
Inherited his shack and made it into a palace. Maybe you wouldn't be so quick to judge. Malik nodded his agreement. Virtue and law are abstract until Alinia's cities are razed and its people enslaved. My organization keeps that from happening, even if the means we use are unconventional. Tell that to Aisling's dad, Patrick hissed. Grace rose suddenly to her feet, glowering at him. Patrick stilled suddenly, averting his eyes. Enough. Our present concerns are too dire to waste time with the past. Indeed. Patrick bowed again with exaggerated formality. By your leave, Lady Jong. If I'm not being charged with anything, I have an inn to tend to. Grace waved her hand dismissively. Fine. Keep your nose out of this. Leave enforcing the laws to the keepers of the city. Patrick spun around and stormed out of the throne room. Malik stepped down from beside the throne. If you don't mind, Grace, I would like to get my daughter to safety as well. I couldn't imagine what I would do if anything were to happen to her.
I need her for the sacrifice.
Just like...
Dad!
I
Remy
just can't
squealed,
believe
pulling her
what I
hand
would
out of
do
reach
if
before he
anything
could
were to
grab
happen
it.
to her.
I need her for the ritual. I need...
Thanks, Dad.
Come along. It's bath time.
On the lips.
Do you guys also kiss your dad? No, it must be a weird Romstead thing. Let's see.
Can't go home. We have to track down the killer. Nightingale. I wouldn't worry about that. Grace sat down again, propping one leg up on the edge of the throne. The princess won't be leaving this castle. Your friends will be right here until I can get word to King Balthazar. It would be absolutely irresponsible of me to leave good family and friends out and vulnerable during a time of such uncertainty. What if I tell Balthazar about all this? Nightingale didn't know what else to say, so she resorted to threats.
My father will hear about this.
Do what you must, Grace hissed. Then she snapped her fingers, and at once a dozen of the City Watch filed back into the throne room. They made certain Grace's commands were obeyed.
Hey guys, so how was Braxis last time? No, I totally fucking lost my ass. Oh, she snapped. Shit, trips. Shit, snap.
Oh god, put the weapons up. Go back.
Like the guy front in line that doesn't even hear it, and the other guy's still trying to push past.
Alright, let's see. Yep, continue to make a break for it.
Make a break for it. Grace! Nightingale began, shoving her way through the guards. She caught one last glimpse of Remy before she vanished from the throne room with Malik just behind. Duchess, Grace corrected, folding her arms. Yeah, whatever, Duchess. Balthazar is on his memorial hunt. I'm pretty sure his last one took weeks. You're not going to keep us locked up in your castle that long, are you? Nightingale said. Guards stepped up beside her then, one on either side. They didn't actually grab her, instead looking to Grace for guidance. It was apparent they'd figured out just who they were being told to push around. Balthazar will do anything to protect his family, girl. If that means locking you somewhere where you can't hurt yourselves, then that's what it takes. Grace sounded coarse. The guard snapped into action, strong arms restraining her. Nightingale tensed but didn't fight. What was she supposed to do? Fight city guards just doing their job?
Yeah.
They all
Grace
explode
leered
like
at
this.
her. Bright side. You're on Middara.
Summons the Minotaur, the fucking...
So he summons, what is it? Yeah, this guy, Minos.
Minos.
I'm sorry, Grace, what was that? Were you gonna keep me locked up?
Something that me and my friend would like to hear here.
Oh, sorry, you were just annihilated. What a shame. immortality doesn't mean you can't
Won't get
die.
any older while you wait. Nightingale took no comfort in the luxury of the prison Grace chose for them. A pair of rooms in her highest tower. It had a wide balcony and an excellent view, none of which she cared about. She spent hours staring out over the city before she finally fell asleep. Nightingale, wake up. The Malum's voice cut through whatever dream Nightingale had been having, and she jerked upright. She snatched up the weapon beside her bed, scanning the room for any sign of intruders. By the balcony. She turned and found the oozing gelatinous shape of the Malama hovering just in front of the glass. After a brief moment, it vanished. Patrick stood behind its form. He was out on the balcony tapping on the glass with his knuckles. He stopped as she looked, waving energetically. Nightingale rushed to the door, swinging it open. Patrick, what the hell are you doing here?
I couldn't spend another minute away from you.
Not so loud, he hissed,
God, you
slinking
remind
inside
me of
after
her.
her. They don't know I'm here.
Never smell.
Also, clothes. Nightingale blushed, moving for his still dirty clothes folded on a nearby end table.
You're just
She
buck
began getting
naked.
dressed rapidly and couldn't help the grin spreading across her lips at what she saw at Patrick's side. Is that a climbing harness?
Is that a shotgun? Or you just
Yeah.
happy to see me?
He returned the grin, hefting something off his shoulders and onto the floor in front of her. Metal clanked from inside, wrapped up with several more harnesses and coils of rope. This is a jailbreak. Are you insane? Nightingale tossed her weapon onto her bed, then sat down on the edge with arms folded. Patrick, you just broke into the Duchess's castle. Grace already didn't seem to like you. I don't give a damn what that woman likes. She's as rotten as Malik. Patrick kicked the harness towards her. Look, so maybe I still owe Shayless for... He trailed off. Some stuff. Anyway,
Busting too early.
I figure this might make us square. I saved her sister. Not just me, Nightingale interrupted. I know.
I've killed your friends already, so we got that taken care of. What? Yeah, the shotgun is super handy at killing people.
It's really good at, yeah.
I've got harnesses for your friends in here, too. Even Rook. I didn't mean them.
That
Her eyes
fat ass.
narrowed. I meant Remy.
Busted
If we go
ass.
with you, you help us get her out. Remy doesn't have a damn thing to do with whatever Malik is doing here. Patrick glowered down at her, but Nightingale didn't look away. She wasn't compromising on this.
I mean, so Remy is either completely naive or, I mean, that's probably what it is, of whatever her dad is.
Well, it sounds like the government and the father are in the same league.
Right, right.
So,
I mean, he's definitely
what was it?
under-
Grace Zhang, that's his sister,
Yep.
who's the Duchess, and then
Of
we've got
Romsdale.
Malik, her father,
Yep.
who's the leader of the Black Hand or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Or secretly the Black Hand. Then he also does like a smuggling business or something
Right,
like that.
right. So obviously,
So, and apparently they have some kind of justice system that is a little under the
yeah, the Deep South.
deep south, little under the radar there
Yeah.
to keep things on the up and up.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You have like a
You see-
general. You have a general like air of justice. So the common people are like, yeah, we're taking care of, but really you're doing everything.
They're doing
kind
the
of-
real justice.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. So
It's like this guy's kind of fucking shit up.
yeah, but it's like, at what point is Remy no longer the victim? If you're like, look, you keep giving your dad these just
Just accept
passes,
it. He
he's
murders.
take a look at him with like like take the rose-colored glasses off, and then he's gonna look dark and ominous.
Fine. We'll save Malik's daughter while we're at it. Just put that on the list, why don't you? Maybe Shayless will owe me when we're done here. He turned away, glancing nervously at the door into the castle. Just wake your friends. I grappled up here, but it's about 200 feet of free rappel. I've never actually done it before.
All right, Eruption of Chaos is next. This one's gonna be pretty juicy, I think. Bam! God, this book is massive.
God damn.
All right, Eruption of Chaos.
Eruption of Chaos. Nightingale sprinted down the street at the head of her little group, ignoring the stares of evening travelers, city guards, and less reputable
Good.
folk
Clothes
alike.
on.
It was a good thing Patrick knew the
did
way. There were dozens of guards on the street armored in black, along with a row of men carrying buckets and shouting.
Bring out your dad!
And in the
Sorry, I
chaos,
interrupt.
nobody moved to stop them. What's going on? Nightingale asked. The sky smelled like a bonfire. I don't know, Patrick said, but we best hurry. Soon they arrived at their destination, and Nightingale stopped short as they came to Malik's home. The elegant manor was in ruins. The front of the building had been blown to pieces. Stray bricks and cracked rock littered the streets, and the windows of neighboring houses had been shattered. Instead of an elegant garden, a makeshift triage had been set up. Several men and women in dark armor had already been covered up with bloody sheets. Nightingale shoved straight through another guard, then past a nervous steward to where Malik was sprawled on a cot. The man
Remi's
wasn't
dead.
in good shape. Burns covered part of his body, and his belly had been wounded, wrapped with too little bandage. If Remy got hurt,
One of those little like circular band-aids. That should cover that. Just massive gash. Yeah, I think it's doing it. Don't we have like magic? And they're healing. Yeah, no, that's
make-believe.
your insurance doesn't cover healing.
because this asshole took her home. Malik! There was nothing of deference in Nightingale's voice, only an imperious shout loud enough to be heard over the chaos. He looked up, eyes partially glazed. Is that the arson girl? Malik was a bit delirious, even as he asked. It was obvious he was in pain. Yes! She loomed over him, hissing through gritted teeth. What happened? Aisling. He pointed back towards the house.
Oh shit.
She has the hegemonics. The damn artifact is dangerous. She used it to summon an exalted Esper. My people fought, but what? Remy, he said, seething as much as Nightingale. While we were fighting for our lives, she dragged her off. Where's the city guard? What's Grace doing? Zeke asked, looking
Getting
around at the
pegged by the
mayhem.
city guard.
She's probably finding out about this now. Malik's weakness seemed to flee for a moment, and he reached, grabbing Nightingale's arm. Arson, you have to save my daughter. Remy shouldn't have to suffer for what I've done. I'll give anything to have her back safe.
I'll give
I know that Patrick has an idea of where she might be.
like charming her.
Keep your blood
You
money.
must save her.
Nightingale.
His eyes is gloss black.
And she's like, oh, yes, master.
No, that's a car. It's like, Nightingale, why do you keep getting possessed?
What? Like
She
having
turned
faces
away.
like the black monster. What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Remy's my friend. That's all that matters. She left him there, the triage swarming with more and more guards and attendants by the second. Together, the group slipped away before any of Grace's people could arrive and try and detain them again. Well, Patrick? Where'd she go? Nightingale had no compassion left. Her question was cold. Malik said you know where to find her. Patrick had gone pale, and his hands shook visibly as he drew, checked, then holstered his gun over and over again. Not at home. She's not an idiot. She talked about a hideout, but I don't know where it is. He stopped in the middle of the empty street, looking defeated. Zeke spoke up weary at how desperate Nightingale looked. I guess Malik and Grace are both criminals. Is that strike 3 or 4 on the villain list? In either case, I guess that we only have a small window before Grace sends someone to find us. Maybe we can find Aisling, find more about Theodosian, and then get the hell out of here. Nightingale scoffed at the remark, but as she turned to respond, she felt a sudden wave of nausea that caused her to steady herself. I know where she is. The Malum spoke in her mind. It was like a cacophony of voices that all came at once.
I know where she
It's your fault this happened, Nightingale.
It is her fault.
If you had let me lead you to Aisling sooner,
It's true.
the murderer would be dead,
Yep.
and your friend would be safe.
Yep. Nightingale sucks. We all know.
Nightingale didn't banish the voice as she had each time before. Instead, she listened. Is your last offer still good? Nightingale thought back. Absolutely. The air before her blurred and fuzzed, filling with an abomination of snapping teeth and writhing black ink flesh. My terms are equitable. Speak your consent and we will put this matter to rest. Hey, everybody! She called, interrupting the deliberation she hadn't been listening to. I know how to find Remy. Really? They all looked at her, straight through the transparent form in the air in front of her. How? Rook asked, a bit worried. The parasite, the Malama can find her. I'm going to let it take my body over long enough to lead us there, Nightingale said with feigned confidence.
What, mate?
Just like, cool, all right.
Let's go. All right, perfect. Why didn't you do this sooner?
So Patrick, you can fuck off, because Malik said you knew where she was and you didn't, so give me the gun.
Zeke dropped the cigarette he was holding. Patrick just looked confused, but Rook's expression darkened. Nightingale, you can't do that. How do you think it's going to take you over? Not all at once. It's little pieces just like this. We have to find her another way. She didn't falter. You got a better idea, Rook? Rook only remained silent for a moment. Let's...
Well, we've been sitting here for about, 30 seconds, so yeah, how about we give it some thought? You just jumped straight to being possessed? That's, You know what? I'm actually going to get grace. We're going to keep you locked up.
Ask Suri. With that, he reached out into the ether and willed the girl to manifest herself. A short moment later, and the girl appeared. Suri, do you think you can help us find Aisling? Rick asked. Who is Aisling? Suri looked confused. I'm not all-knowing, Rook, though I wish I were. You humans should be better at finding yourselves. Suri glanced over her shoulder with a nervous look. I'd rather not be wandering around after what happened with Melody either. There's no saying what agents of the Great Bounty might be lurking about. Patrick looked even more confused. He stared dumbly at Suri's floating form, but didn't comment. Rook sighed, and Suri popped out of existence. I guess I don't have a better idea. Neither do I, Nightingale said with determination. Just don't let me do anything stupid, all right? I'll tell you when I'm back. Rook frowned at her. I don't think it works like that. She ignored him, extending her hand towards the Malama's invisible shape. Just long enough to lead us there, right? Only long enough. The scale is always even with me, the Malama said with a gleeful tone. What other choice did she really have? Nightingale wasn't going to just let Remy die. With that thought, Nightingale willed it. It was as if she opened a locked door in her mind that let the Malama walk inside. With that, everything faded away, and the darkness lengthened and stretched, wrapping itself around her mind. Nightingale chained.
All right, reward. Nightingale inches closer to losing herself forever. Her close physical bond with the Malama has earned her some of the creature's inherent abilities. Reveal small hidden card UM7. Nightingale learns the joining story discipline. Is that what I say, UM7? It's another assemblage, baby! Man, if only you were cool.
Not possessed by black slime.
Well, I lose 1 permanent health, but it's a passive. Gain resistance to magic damage.
Oh, that's pretty tight.
Pretty fucking sick! Alright, Nightingale changed.
Okay, she needs to be our
It was
tank
almost
now.
as if her
Switch
skin
him.
tone had gone a whole 2 shades paler. And considering how pale she was already, it made her a stark white. Rook peered at her with a mixture of academic curiosity and fear. Her green hair seemed to drift, as though she were submerged in water he couldn't see. There was also a darkness in her eyes, something sinister and lacking in empathy. Come, Nightingale said, but her voice was flat and emotionless. She began walking off down the street at a slow, jilted walking pace, as if she was learning to walk for the first time. Her movements seemed abrupt and purposeful,
T-posing.
as if she was trying to be careful not to fall. Rook and Zeke shared a look of worry before following. Nightingale's body led them all the way out of the city. She never tired, never slowed, and barely responded to anything they said. And after a few long moments, they made it less than a mile out of the city through a winding path that led them up a nearby cliffside void of roads. As they walked, Rook couldn't help but wonder what Nightingale, the real Nightingale, was feeling. Nightingale screamed. She was aware of what was happening, but she had no control over her actions. It was as if she was locked inside of her own head, pacing behind the windows of her eyes. Stupid girl, the Malama thought, and its horrible voice echoed through the confines of her mind. the confines of her whole existence. I'll lead them to the place where Aisling is. But if they all die, you cannot blame me. Don't hurt them! We had a deal! Nightingale yelled, but her thoughts were crushed by the Malum of forcing her into submission within her own consciousness. I always honor my deals. Protecting them wasn't one of the terms. The Malum snapped at her, crushing her will. Your frail body is feeble. Aisling is truly strong, void of weakness. Her despair has forged her into someone that might actually be worthy of me. Nightingale lashed out. With no body, it felt like a tug of emotion driving her position within the blackness that surrounded her. As she did, though, she felt her spirit suddenly strapped to the floor of her mind, leaving her crushed beneath the weight of her own sorrow. And the Malama taunted her. When Aisling eviscerates your friends and grinds them into a paste using the hegemonics, I'll be happy to leave your body for a new one. Then the Malama laughed, loud enough that she couldn't escape it. There wasn't anywhere to go. Nightingale recoiled inside of her own mind, but no matter what she did, her reality was filled with the laughs of the Malama. Be on your guard, Nightingale said, cocking her head to look at Rook, Zeke, and Patrick. The three were following behind her. There are monsters about, she said with a jovial...
Oh, weird. Kind of just... Alright, kind of just cut off.
Oh.
But that takes us to the Romstead cliffsides. I mean, there are creatures about. She smiled at them a little too widely. We have made too much noise. They will come for us
the
soon.
The anime girl thing where the pupils get really small.
Right.
Smile.
Yeah, the oversized grin. Remy has been kidnapped. Mark her as unselectable.
Oh, no!
What do you think was going to happen?
I know. Guess it'll be just me and Patrick.
Right. Okay, tip. Unselectable adventurers. Occasional adventurers might become unselectable, while unselectable adventurers cannot be selected as members of the active group, and their items cannot be shared until they are no longer unselectable.
Oh,
all right, well, that leads us to the Romstead.
I was excited about that.
Right.
Club.
That leads us to the Romstead cliffside, so that will be the next episode. Lots of stories.
Next time on Middara.
I literally never thought that there would be a series I would do where it's mostly just us sitting here listening to stuff.
That's pretty wild.
But that was that, everyone. Stick around to see what happens with Remy and us. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.